All right, folks, good morning. All right, let's get started. Today is a big day for the markets. We have the FOMC funds rate decision, economic projections. We'll have the FOMC statement, and then after that, we'll have the FOMC press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, there are no other significant reports coming out for the U.S. For Wednesday that should affect the stock market. Most importantly, during this time, from 2 p.m. Eastern onwards until market close, uh, there won't be any good trading possible. So it's recommended by me that you don't trade at all once 2 p.m. Eastern hits. You completely exit the markets, for day traders, and then that's it. Okay. We don't know what they're going to say, and even if they say what we expect, we don't know how the market will react. So rather than us trying to guess what they're going to say and guessing how everyone's going to take it, we just stand aside and let the market figure out what it wants to do. And most likely, whatever happens today will dictate where the market's going to go for quite a while. Okay, so usually the market is going to take a turn, positive or negative or neutral, right after, thereafter, once the Fed makes its decision. So this is the most important report that we're going to get for a while to the next decision. All right. So that's what we should expect. So again, that's at 2 o'clock Eastern. Now, as of right now, they're expecting that interest rates will remain the same, but we also have to consider um, what the Fed members will say about inflation. If they act like inflation is no longer something they think is out of control, if they give the impression that they feel like what they're doing is working and that they're on course to be able to lower rates later in the year, then that would be a positive for the markets. However, if they suggest otherwise, then that would be a negative for the markets. Now, looking at the NASDAQ pre-market, we're looking at the QQQ ETF, which is a NASDAQ ETF. Yesterday, it was mostly bullish. We started here, we ended up there. The action was not terrible as far as how the market was moving on this chart. It wasn't the choppiest action, but as always, choppier than what we want. And presently, the market is trading slightly higher than where it was on yesterday's close. However, this did not translate into great opportunities to trade stocks. Yesterday, we had very little of benefit yesterday from the markets. So as far as stocks are concerned, most of the ones we looked at, they reversed direction after initially moving in the one direction. They reversed. So Microsoft was able to reach its target number one to the upside of 421.50, but we didn't see it very early. Um, Array Biosciences, we did see that very early, and this one had a great move early in this session. It went up sharply over here. But then after it passed its positive T1 of $12.15 a share, it then quickly collapsed. So it did come back later, but not really what we were looking for. Amazon was able to reach its target number one to the upside of 176 a share. Adobe, very choppy trading, not really what we're looking for at all. It did reach its target number one at 516.42, but we were looking for a move after that. But after that, it collapsed at first. Then it recovered, went about 50, well, actually went about two-thirds of the way to target number two to the upside, but not the type of trading activity that we were looking for either. Let's see. Mondelez was able to go to about two-thirds of the way to its target number two, topping out at 72.44. But again, most of the day was chop, after the initial part of the session, and then only a small amount of movement after that. And that was pretty much it. As far as opportunities go, we didn't really find much. So let's take a look at what's happening in the pre-market and see what's moving. So only a few stocks that are getting my attention. So let's look at INTC first. INTC, Intel, is up sharply. Um, let's see, the reason for that, uh, the Biden administration proposed a non-binding preliminary memorandum of terms with the tech giant to provide up to $8.5 billion in direct funding as part of the CHIPS and Science Act. Okay. So basically, non-binding agreement saying they'll give money to Intel to help them to produce more chips than uh, China, basically. All right, so that one's not up enough. It's only up 2.66%, so we'll have to pass on that. We need something that has at least a 6% price change. So let's check out the next symbol, sorry, which is NMHI. NMHI is presently up 6.94%, so it's still up enough, but as you can see, it came down very sharply from its highs, but it's still up 6.94% on 2.97 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share, so that will be added to our pre-market radar for stocks. Symbol again is NMHI. Next up, we've got TSHA, which is currently up 34.62% on 2.1 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So that looks good. We'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar as well. And next up, we have XPEV. I'm sorry, actually, no, XPEV is a NASDAQ stock, or is a New York stock, never mind. So that's all the stocks I have currently. If you folks see any other stocks, any other NASDAQ listed stocks that are at least $1 per share in the pre-market trading, have achieved at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume, and at least a 6% price change, let me know in the chat. So anything that you see that meets all of those criteria, let me know in the chat. Again, must be at least $1 per share in the pre-market session, the current session. Must be at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, and also must be at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. So let me know in the chat if you see anything else other than what I've already mentioned that meets those criteria. And we'll go ahead and wrap up the pre-market pulse here shortly. But again, just want to make sure if you see any other stocks that meet all of those criteria, let me know in the chat. And then we'll go ahead and take a look. HOLO. Okay, let's take a look. Yep, that's currently up 13.9%, 1.3 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll add HOLO to our pre-market radar for stocks. Thank you. Works. Let's take a look at that. Yep, that's currently up 16.2% on 1.1 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll add WORX, works, to our pre-market radar as well. I did not. Let's take a look at PDD. That's currently up 17%, 17.5% on 4 million shares, and of course it's way over $1 per share. All right. So PDD is now added to the pre-market radar as well. So again, folks, if you see any other stocks that meet all of our criteria, let me know in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and take a look. All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up then. As always, folks, please be sure to like this video. Yep, I got them. We added HOLO and WORX to the pre-market radar, so that's already added. So folks, please go ahead and like the video. See, we have 16 likes, but more than 16 people watching. Also, subscribe to the channel as well. That way you get notifications for our videos. Also, if you are watching this video on a replay, if you're not familiar with our company, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. There is a link in the description of the video. Other than that, for everyone else who's part of the program, I'll see you in the coaching room in 27 minutes, and then we'll pick up from there. Other than that, folks, have a fantastic trading session. Remember that we do have the FOMC at 2 o'clock Eastern. So make sure once that starts, you do that at that time at 2 o'clock Eastern, you're not trading at all. And for the rest of the day, after that, we'll be flat and just see how things go. And then look to take advantage of what bias the market gets on the next day and then going forwards. All right, folks, have a good one. And I'll see you guys for the next Pre-Market Pulse. Take care.